Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of the Photo Tips Under 2 Minutes podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to mention the Corpus Callosum Facebook group I've created. The purpose of this group is to bring like-minded creatives such as yourself together in order to inspire and be inspired by others around the globe. I'd love for you to be part of the journey as the group builds and have dropped the link in the descriptive script below. Now, on to today's episode. Today's episode is a little bit different from what you may be used to, but one I wanted to share as I believe this will resonate with a lot of you listening. You may have noticed that I haven't posted a new episode in nearly 2 weeks, and I wanted to explain the reasons why. This is a very open, honest truth about myself, and one that I have tried to disguise, I suppose, as it wasn't something I wanted to project. But the bottom line is transparency is key. In a world where we live vicariously through other people's social feeds, and one where we only showcase the best moments of our own lives, I've decided to start sharing the warts and all aspects of my journey and building my business. This is not a decision I've taken lightly, as it will massively expose me, but in the long run I genuinely believe it will be a positive, which is why I've reached this decision. Like so many others, I first got into photography as a hobby, which over time developed into something bigger. So I set up my photography business, Photo Receptor Cell, covering portrait, product and documentary wedding photography. I have the same 24 hours a day that everyone else has, yet this still doesn't seem to be enough for me to be able to keep on top of it all, and I find myself becoming increasingly burned out. In July 2018, The Independent published that 40% of UK workers have a side hustle. In November of 2018, startups.co.uk recorded that the number of UK side hustles were up 32% since 2008. The current population of the UK is 66,850,989, and that was correct as of the 20th of March of 2019. Based on that latest United Nations estimates, that has risen from 66,573,504 in 2018. If we were to presume that the percentage of people within the UK having side hustle remains at 40%, this tells us that as of March 2019, 26,740,395 people in the UK have a side hustle. And I form part of that statistic. As I juggle a full-time job, being a parent and a husband, all whilst continuing to build my business, the passion and thirst to be a better creative continues to fuel and motivate me every day. Despite my attempts to structure my side hustle workflow, I am discovering, just like with my day job, something comes along and puts a different spin to the best laid plans, putting a halt to what my brain was expecting to achieve. Were you aware you have 70,000 thoughts per day? The conscious mind controls only 5% of the day, whereas the subconscious mind has a hold of our thoughts 95% of the time. People consume information differently, something that I am very much aware of, which is why I share information across audio, visual and written platforms. Naturally, there is some crossover between platforms, but each one also has its own unique content, so it's worth checking out all mediums to see which one resonates more with you and how you consume content. As Photo Receptor Cell continues to build, my long game is to take this passion, this once upon a time hobby, and become a photographer full time. Being very much aware of the impact video is having upon the market today, I'm also developing my skills as a videographer, which will only add to my portfolio, showing me to be a well-rounded, versatile creator. Everything I do is geared towards why I do what I do. To build a creative centre. A space that like-minded creatives can come together to share ideas, collaborate, ask questions of and learn from fellow creatives. A place that people feel comfortable in discussing ideas and concepts, and a place that they can call their own. A space that they refer to as home. I have already begun this by creating a Facebook group that, if you've heard any, or if you've listened to any of my previous episodes, you will have heard me talk about this. The group I've set up is called Corpus Callosum, and I'd love for you to join me and the other members in building an exciting community. Guys, this episode had a little different spin, but this was something that was eating away at me, playing on my mind, and I wanted to share it in order to be open and be honest, and really just to sort of explain to you why I haven't posted an episode in almost 2 weeks. I'm very much aware that consistency is key, and I will continue to be as consistent as I can in my episodes. I will still try and bring you 5 episodes a week. Sometimes I may not achieve that. Guys, thank you very much for listening. If you're still listening up to this stage, thank you very much. And remember, be creative, be inspired, be you. One last thing before you go. I appreciate time is precious, but could I ask a small favour? It would mean so much to me if you would rate and or review this podcast. My aim is to provide you with bite-sized pieces of information that will motivate and inspire you to go out and be creative. And by doing this small favour, it lets me know that I'm achieving just that. Or not, I suppose that depends on whether you give me 1 star or 5. Regardless, it gives me an indication as to whether I'm succeeding or off the beaten path. You're the best.